Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. It has been a while, right here, in case you forgot. It's probably been like a month since I put my last video out. Just out here enjoying the summer, driving my car around. Got quite a few miles on it. Probably over 4,000 kilometers so far. It's been a couple months since I've had it on the road. Not quite 3,000 miles. I'm almost due for an oil change, another oil change. So, but yeah, I've run into a minor issue. I've had a couple minor issues. Still messing with the transmission. I think I found out my problem is that rod in the vacuum modulator was a little too long. So I shortened it up. I just did this yesterday, and I put a new modulator on because on the weekend I took it on a trip. It's probably about 300 kilometers over to my friend's cottage, and it wouldn't shift into third. Like I was stuck in second gear, just wouldn't go. Don't know why. Didn't matter what I did. Eventually, it would kind of kick in, and it was shifting really hard into third, which wasn't normal. So, and I did find some fluid in the vacuum line going to the modulator, so I think that diaphragm was leaking. So I bought another one. I got that installed just kind of quick yesterday. Took it for a spin. Seems to be working all right so far. But I did notice my tires, and let me show you what I'm talking about. There's one tire. That's off my. That's a rear tire actually. I already switched them. That was a front tire. It started to wear quite a bit on the outside edge, so my alignment was not quite right, or something shifted, which I do know happened. I didn't think to quite the extent that I thought. And this is the passenger side. I already flipped it up. It was worn quite severely on this outside edge. So I've just switched those to the back. And I've moved the fresh tires up to the front. So I'm going to give this another shot. So what had happened, I don't know how long it had been like this. I guess the more I drive it, the more I get used to things, and the more I just got used to it. But the front link bars here, I guess I can show you from this side. These bars here loosened off, and they were flopping around. So that kind of changes what is your caster angle. So they were moving around quite a bit. I don't know what kind of effect that had on the tires. I guess it did. I still tracked fine, but I could hear this odd clunk once in a while. I'm like, what is it? I didn't know what that was, and it had been there for quite a little while. So finally I crawled under, and they were both loose. So I got those tightened up. I don't know when that wearing happened, whether it happened just this past weekend on the back tire or on the front, now the back, or what. But I'm going to see if I can redo my alignment here shortly. So I'm just rotating my tires, get the fresh set. The backs look fantastic. They look brand new still. The back end is like just absolutely dialed in perfectly straight. So it's just my front that I got to mess with. So I did, what did I do? I Loctited those front nuts on those adjustments. It's been about a week or 2 weeks now, I think, since I made that adjustment. And they're still tight, so that's good. I'm going to check my caster angle here shortly, and once I get it back on the ground, once I get done flipping the tires. One thing that I'm going to do today as well, so this is the original front brake kit, the aftermarket disc brake kit that I put on, and the pads that were on it were okay. Like, they stopped fine, but maybe you can see the brake dust that they're creating. So it just makes these rims absolutely filthy. So what I am going to do is I bought some different pads. They weren't, I think they were 50 bucks, something like that. So I have some Power Stop ceramic brake pads. So I'm going to throw these on, and hopefully they'll get a little less brake dust on them. They're real easy to change. I don't even have to take the caliper off, I don't think, if I remember right. Yeah, one thing I found out as well, so I bought this aftermarket kit from CJ Pony Parts, if I remember right. And They don't really give you any description of what the parts are, where to get replacement pads, what if I need a new rotor, what if whatever. Like, it comes in one big kit. So I emailed them and said, you know, where do I get parts for this? Where do I get pads? Do you sell pads? Do you sell rotors? Because they didn't really give you any instruction. And they said no. So you're just kind of on your own to figure it out once you get it on there. So what I did discover was that the pads, they are a D11 pad. So that's just the pad model. So if you kind of looked up what took a D11 pad, and the 67 Mustangs took a D11 pad. And I come to find out this is the stock caliper for a 67 Mustang with disc brakes in the front. So the rotor is the same as well. So all they did with that kit was take the pad, everything off a 67 Mustang front end with disc brakes and put it, you know, this is now for your 69. Because in 69 it was a single pot. This is a 4-piston. That was instead of the single piston. Much better braking system. Works great. I have no complaints. Yeah. So I'm just going to do a quick pad change out. Check everything over. Make sure it's all right. It's been fine. Like, it doesn't really make any noise. There's a bit of a squeak, but I don't think that's much of anything. Just when I'm moving real slow. So we'll see. Yeah, there's no ridge or anything. So the pad's making, you know, it's making good contact. You can see, like, this rotor looks perfect. It's not glazed or anything. So yeah, I'll put those new brakes on, see how it goes. I wish there was some way to stop this rust from happening, but I think that's just kind of just how she goes. So yeah, so that's about it for that. Yeah, I'm just going to get right at it, get these brake pads put on, and see if I can do that alignment real quick. So these are the differences between the old pad. Like, looks fine. Like, it's even. It's not worn on one side. Just a flat pad. These are the new pads. Kind of got a tapered leading and trailing edge. Just a little more of a quality pad. But we'll see how it works. The old ones, you know, they stop fine. But yeah, just really dirty. Really dirty. So, all right. So, back on the rollers. So what I'm going to do next is make sure my steering wheel's centered, get that all adjusted, and then set up my string again, and then we'll see about alignment. I think it's off quite a bit. So back when my bars were loose, all I did was tighten them up and set the caster in. I didn't check everything else, so which was a mistake, I think. So I'm gonna check my caster, check my camber, and then we'll get my steering wheel locked down and make sure everything's all right. So I'm gonna do that next. All right, so got everything set up. Everything's measured. So my strings are identical from the center of each wheel, each side to side. So I think it's about 8.5 inches from the string. It's just what it works out. These numbers are kind of arbitrary. It's just based on whatever I cut these notches at. So the notches on these pipes are identical at both ends. So that way you can get something that's parallel. So it's 8.5 inches to the center of my rim right there, same as on the other side, and then same as at the front. I checked my caster and my camber, everything looks good. I'm happy with it. So I'm not sure what went on, but things are off. So things are maybe breaking in. Maybe that's what happened. I think that caster, those loosening off did have a big effect on what happened to my tire. So, so I've got my steering wheel centered. I went side to side just to check and put it, I think it was 4.5 or 4.25 turns. So I split the difference. That's where I ended up before, so I'm back where I started. So everything should be lined up. I got a ratchet strap holding it straight, so any adjustments I make won't be moving that. It'll be moving just my tie rod ends. So I've got one side lined up, or loosened up, ready to go. Yeah, so what I'm aiming for is, before I did, what did I do? It tracked nice and straight, but I think it was just way too much toe, and I think that loosening off kind of exacerbated it. So I'm going to go for a 1/8 inch total toe. So that's a 1/16 on each side. Easiest way to do it for me. I don't know if you can even see the string here. I mean, it's right here. You can see it. There's the string. I'm going to measure, so it's a 1/16 in compared to the other end on the outside of the rim. So that's what I'm going to shoot for. And then once you get that done, drop it down, take it for a spin. But the rest of it's just me kind of crawling on the ground and making adjustments. So yeah, I'll come back when everything's adjusted, we're back on the ground, and maybe we'll take it for a test drive and see how it works. All right. Okay, we're back on the ground. Everything's hopefully aligned. I think we're ready. I just torqued my wheels. Should be ready to go for a test drive. Yeah, I'm gonna take that off my steering wheel. That probably help. And yeah, I do have to. We'll see if it tracks straight. And I do have to seat my brake pads, and we'll go through the motions on that. And yeah, we'll just go for a little tour, see what happens. Okay, here we are. We'll see if it starts. Oh yeah. Fires right up. It's been sitting here for a few days since I noticed my tire wear, so just gonna let it warm up for a little bit, and we'll pull it outside of the garage and let it warm up out there. Seems to track straight. It's windy out today, so Steering wheel straight anyway. It's going to work in the brakes now. There, brakes are kind of broken in. That was just the what the manufacturer recommended. Hard braking, then some easy braking, then and then a nice cool down drive. So you can feel that. So downshifted to second for absolutely no reason, which is driving me nuts. I'm at partial throttle. I'm doing 50 miles an hour, 55. And yeah, it'll just downshift to second for absolutely no reason. I'm not stepping on it. It drives me absolutely insane. So if anybody has an idea why it's doing that, let me know. It's got vacuum. I put a new vacuum modulator on. I adjusted the pin. It just still wants to do that for some reason. I don't know if it's a servo thing or what, but my next step, if it keeps doing that, is I'm just going to make it into a manual and I'll shift through the gears. That's the cheapest option at this point. I think it's $200 for the shift kit. Makes it into a manual transmission, and then I won't be screwing around. Because half the time, while I'm in town, I have to downshift it into second anyway, because it just hunts. When you're going 35 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour, it just doesn't like it. It just goes up and down constantly, so I just put it in second. And it sits at like 2,500 RPM. Like, it's not a big deal. But yeah, the alignment feels all right. It's a rough road. It's got a barrel crown to it. kind of a back road. Where there's a crown, it's pushing over, but also the wind is blowing like crazy right now. So hopefully you can hear me talking. See if it does it here. I'm accelerating first, late shift, second, and still won't shift to third. Set off the gas. There it goes. I don't know. It seems to have gotten worse. It's not shifting as hard as it was. It tells me it did something, but it's still not. It's shifting really late. And I've adjusted out a turn already, just to see. I'll drive it for a week or so. This week's supposed to be nice, so I'll probably be able to drive it every day. My alignment looks good. Steering wheel's straight. I let go of the wheel. The wind's pushing me, but yeah, it's not diving to one side of the road or the other, so it's good. Hopefully that'll be better on my tires. Feel that? It just keeps bump, 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 bump. Like it just keeps shifting. Which is real annoying. On short drives, it's not bad, I can deal with it, but when I'm in the car for 3 hours and it keeps doing that, it seems to get worse as the engine heats up a lot, or not the engine, but the transmission heats up a little bit. Yeah, it's a real pain. Even now, I'm still in second. So I'm doing 55. Like normally I would have shifted by now, so let off the gas and still doesn't go into third. Like it should be shifting by now. And nothing. So I'm still in second, so it just does not want to go into third sometimes. And I'll probably do it as I slow down. Nope. So I just didn't want to do it at all that time. So I don't know. It's driving me nuts. So I'll put up with it for about another week, and then yeah, I may invest in a manual valve body. So, or a manual shift kit, because I'm getting real tired of it. So that's that. Anyway, we are back in a home. Back in the garage. Okay, so that was a little test drive. Yeah, so still having some little issues with it. I don't know. It's been consistently doing that since I got it on the road. It seems to be getting a little worse now, where it just does not want to go into third, and I'm running out of ideas other than pulling the valve body out again. So maybe the valve body's wore down. I don't know. I don't have my kickdown linkage hooked up, so that's not a thing. Yeah, it just drops down. Like I said, not ideal, really, when you're going, 80, 90 kilometers an hour, and it just downshifts to third or second to no reason. Goes from 2,500 RPM up to 4 grand right away. Sometimes it'll do stay there, and then you'll just go up and back down right immediately. That can't be good for stuff. So yeah, and I don't know if I have to do a manual valve body or manual shift kit. That's what I got to do, I guess. So the transmission does have, even after a rebuild, the parts in it are still have 100,000 miles on it. Like my odometer turned over 100,000 a little while ago. So I'm back to zeros now, so that's cool. But which is technically kind of right. But yeah, the parts in the transmission are still old. The valve body's got 100,000 miles on it. Doesn't matter what you put into it, it's still got 100,000 miles on it, and somebody had been into it already. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has any ideas. I could buy another valve body, but then there's a couple $100 as opposed to the shift kit that's a couple $100. That's probably my cheapest option at this point. I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll upgrade to a different transmission. Who knows? But anyways, that's where we're at. Really enjoying the car. I have, no complaints. The seats are fantastic. Like, you don't get tired on long drives. I get a lot of compliments on it, which is great. And I think this week we're going to head down the road to the beach. They have a cruise night every Tuesday, so we're going to head down there. So I might do a video on that. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next video.